Okay, so we're going to have quite a grounding practice, and we're just going to take our legs to the outer edges of our mat in a kneeling pose and making your way down to your child's pose. Taking your time here to lengthen the spine and allow the head to fall heavy into the mat. Deep breathing here as you notice your breath. With every breath cycle, just feeling into your child's pose. Feeling the breath expand the belly. Taking your hands over to your left side and settling down, feeling the side body here as you breathe. Noticing the expansion and release of your lungs as you take yourself over towards the right side. Sit bones dropping to the heels. And bringing yourself back to the center. Just feeling your breath. Noticing the breath cycles here as you breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Lengthening the spine, energy out through the head, energy out through the sit bones. And making your way to your wide-legged kneeling pose. Fingertips facing forward, heart's just going to take a little arch of the spine, heart leads forward. Breathing here. Allowing the collarbones to smile. And neutralizing the spine, bringing yourself up to your kneeling position, drawing the knees so that they're hip width apart, and just taking a little moment here to take yourself to your all fours pose. Breathing in your all fours pose. Neutralizing your spine here, drawing the belly button up towards the spine. Taking a rounding of the pelvis and a release of the pelvis. We're just isolating the pelvis at the moment. So just breathing here. Lovely. Returning to a neutral spine, hands directly underneath the shoulders. Inhale, taking your first arch. And exhale to round out the spine. Staying in your rounding motion for a moment as you breathe here. And release back to a neutral spine. Protraction and retraction of the shoulder blades. So we're just going to round out the shoulders as much as you can and sink. Just exploring the shoulder blades. Noticing how they are moving today. As you move through and in between these two places of sinking and rounding. Lovely. release. And taking cat-cow again, inhale, arch. Exhale to round. Inhale, deep arch. Exhale to round. Beautiful. Walking the hands a little bit closer, keeping the spine round and pushing the ground away. Bringing yourself back to your kneeling pose here. Open the heart. Draw the shoulder blades so that they squeeze in the back. And then neutralizing the spine. Taking your hands just to the outer edges of the knees, spreading your fingertips wide. We're just going to place our soles, our backs of the feet, into the mat. And we're going to lift our pelvis. And lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. If this feels too much right now, you can just stay in your kneeling pose. Feeling the shoulder blades spreading apart as you do that. And slowly bringing yourself back to center. Deep breaths. Noticing your breath in your body. And notice any sensations in the body. Taking a gentle spinal twist. As you open out the torso and breathing here. Start to identify any areas of tension through each movement and mindfully breathing here. Hands reach out, spread your fingers as wide as possible, opening and closing. Even quicker. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, up. Side. Even faster. Forwards. Up. Maybe feeling it now, and to the sides. Beautiful. Bringing your hands forward and circling. Mindfully looking at the hands. And then the other way, rotating in the wrists. Beautiful. Bringing yourself to prepare for a plank pose. Drawing the belly button to the spine and rounding through the shoulders in this plank pose. Taking a few breaths here. Drawing the right knee towards the middle of the chest. And then rotate on the back heel to find a spinal twist. And kick and extend if that feels right for you. And back to center. And stepping back. Shifting the weight forward. Left side. Beautiful. Floating the knees down, pressing back to a child's pose, knees hip width apart. And breathing. Slowly and gently shifting the weight forward, stepping your right foot to the outer edge of your right hand and just breathing in your low lunge. Noticing the flow of the breath here. Notice what happens if we apply some pressure through the front foot and then release, swimming the toe around to the back. Just stretching out the calf here as you push back into the heels of your hands for a moment. Knee floats down, left foot to the outer edge of your left hand and just breathing here, feeling into your hip opening, low lunge, heart forward and breathing here. Noticing the flow of your breath. And slowly shifting the pelvis back, swimming the toe around to the back. And just having a moment here to stretch out the back of the calf. And maybe moving into the ankle joint. Lovely. Slowly floating the foot down and hands underneath your shoulders here. Tuck the toes under, spreading the toes wide. And we're going to lift our knees as we breathe here for 4 breaths. Drawing the belly button to the spine. Notice the flow of your breath here. Right foot steps through the middle, just pressing the pelvis up as you look to the underneath hand. Lowering the pelvis, reaching the left hand down to the ground, right foot steps back. Breathing here. On your next breath, stepping the left leg through and lifting and squeezing in the glutes, lift the hips. And breathing here, slowly lower the pelvis and returning to your all fours, knees lifted. Right foot steps through. Lifting in the pelvis, taking the head to the ceiling as we lift our chin. Drawing the pelvis up high and slowly lowering back to your all fours. Left side. Here it's really important that we lift through our pelvis and relaxing the front of the neck and the jaw, slowly lowering down. Hands placing down on the ground and bringing yourself back to your all fours, slowly returning to your kneeling pose. Taking your hands to heart center as you breathe here. Taking a spinal twist in one direction, as big as or as small as you need this to be. And the other direction, and back to center. Slowly taking yourself to your seated position, feet stretched out in front. And noticing your sit bones planting onto the ground, breathing here. Taking your right hand to the side and just taking yourself to a side stretch, feeling into your side body and exhale. Inhale, lifting the other hand and exhale into the side stretch, reaching the crown of the head away. Inhale, lifting tall. Exhale, floating down. Inhale over the top. And breathing here. Notice your top shoulder. If it's falling in, can we open out by sending our heart forward here and taking ourselves back in space? Inhale, reaching tall. Exhale, floating down. Other hand, inhale, big reach. And exhale into the stretch. Really taking your time here to feel the energy out through the crown of the head and reaching to plant both sit bones onto the ground, rolling the top shoulder open. Inhale, reaching tall. Exhale, floating down. Inhale, two hands reach up. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, hands reach up. Exhale, hands float down. Inhale, big reach up. Drawing the feet together, reaching up as high as you can, and exhale, sending the heart forward, allowing the head to fall wherever you land. And breathing here. Notice the head falling heavy. And see if we can breathe through any tension that might be arising as you take your first stretch in your forward fold motion. Drawing your right heel towards the butt. Taking a deep breath. Changing over, left foot towards the butt. Taking a deep breath, lengthen through the spine. Changing feet, right side, lengthen through. And changing, other side. Returning back to the right foot. Stepping the right foot over heel towards the left hip. And embracing the leg here as you breathe. Sitting tall and drawing the belly button to the spine. Notice the back shoulder. Can we relax here? Inhale, reaching and lengthening. Exhale, finding your gaze to the back of the room. Small spinal twist. As you breathe here, noticing any sensations arising in the glute of your right hip. And just breathing here. One more breath. Taking in your surroundings behind you and then drawing the gaze back towards the screen. Bringing your feet here, and just here we're going to wiggle our toes, taking your hand around the sole of the foot, and then I invite you to take a cradle pose here, or if this feels like it needs a little bit of time, we can just allow our foot to relax here, allowing this hip opener as we breathe here. Taking the hip opener and seeing if the shoulder tension arises through taking the weight of our leg and our foot. And if so, just easing out of any shoulder tension and maybe taking a gentle rock from side to side. Beautiful. Noticing how this feels right now. Lovely. Taking the peace fingers of the right hand around the right foot, so same hand as foot as you kick the leg away, drawing the heart up and open as we lift here. Hand rests by the side just to support you as we find a hip opener here, and this can be as low or as high as it needs to be. Just feeling into breathing as you swing the hip. Lovely. Beautiful. And roaring back to center, taking around the hamstring, and then just a few folds of the leg just to lubricate the joints. Lovely. Taking hold here. And we're just going to circle. And the other way. Really nice. Taking the sole of the foot to the inside thigh, finding our half lotus. And just settling here, notice your sit bones on the ground. Neutralizing the spine. As we breathe here, inhale, reaching the hands high. Exhale, lengthen, heart forward. Heaviness in your head as you breathe here. Letting go of any judgment around where you need to be and just arriving where you are and breathing into that space. Seeing if the out breath can help you to find a bit more depth and surrender to this pose. Bringing yourself back to your center, stacking the foot towards the inside thigh, seating tall. Breathing here. Opposite hand to the leg that's bent is going to freely reach forward. And then we're going to take the other hand behind us to support our self in this pose here as we breathe. Taking the front hand and just finding a hook to support a spinal twist here. Gaze to the back of the room, back of the mat, and just breathing here. Taking your time with this pose. It's really important that we feel our way through the poses. And sometimes reaching a full pose takes a little bit of time, so just breathing here. Taking a moment to release here. Lovely. From here, just allowing the hip to fall and then stacking it back up. Allowing it to fall and stacking it back up one more. And stepping our feet wide here. Internal rotation, external rotation. Take your time with the rotations in the hip socket. And really think about driving the knees outwards as you breathe here. Lovely. Taking the foot in, just in front of the pelvis. Foot in line with shin as you breathe here. Inhale, reaching tall. Exhale, heart center. Inhale, reaching tall. Exhale, heart center. Taking the hand of the long leg here. And just taking a reach over to the side, rolling the top shoulder open. Inhale as you reach that hand up and over. Just find your stretch here. Rolling your top shoulder open and breathing here. Just notice the neck, the front of the neck, and just see if we can release any tension here as we feel into this side of the body. As we breathe. Inhale, reaching the hand tall. And exhale, floating down, returning so that the feet are directly in front of you, hip width apart. And then from here, we're just going to return to our spinal twist that we did before. And back to center. Keeping the legs where they are, I'm just going to turn to the side so that you can see me. The right hand is going to reach up high, left hand on the front of the ankle joint, sitting tall. Inhale, reaching the right hand forward. And then we're going to swing the hand around the back. Option is to take a bind here. Allow the head to fall heavy. And if for any reason the bind is not available to you, you can just rest in a forward fold. Releasing out of the bind and maybe drawing the foot closer to the butt cheeks. As you breathe here, heavy head, releasing from the bind and bringing yourself to your seated position, giving the knees a little hug for a moment. And breathing here. Placing the hands to the outside of the hip. And then we're just going to allow our knees to fall as we window wiper our legs. Preparing to repeat this all on the other side. So we extend our legs away. Finding our staff pose. Shoulders directly on top of the hips rather than sitting forward or projecting in the rib cage. So breathing here, inhale, reach up high. Exhale, slowly bring the hands down to heart center. Inhale, reach up high. Slowly down to heart center. Hands placing your hands to the side, reaching over to your right side. Sit bones both firmly planted into the ground. And all the way up. Taking that stretch over to the other side. And all the way up. Reaching both hands high. Exhale, forward fold, heart forward. Allow the head to fall heavy. And then relax your feet this time. And breathing here. Drawing the feet together, taking around the wrists, if that's available to you. You can use your hands as a lever to draw your heart forward, nose forward, closer to the toes. And then release the hands and just settle for a moment. Allowing any tension to melt away here as you breathe. Beautiful. Slowly and gently drawing yourself all the way up, opening the heart. And returning to your neutral spine. Lovely. Left foot in. Switching sides, right foot in. Just two this time and returning to your left side. pressing into the foot to lengthen through the spine. Feel the trapezius and the shoulders drop as you breathe here. Stepping left heel to the right hip, or as close as we can get today. And we're just going to breathe here. Noticing the base of the spine lifting and lengthening. So what we're not doing is crunching down on the base of our spine. We're thinking about up and open here. Finding your spinal twist. And as you breathe here, just noticing the back space, noticing your surroundings here, and breathing. Drawing the knee close to the body. How does your breath feel in your body right now? And then slowly and gently bringing yourself back to the front, taking the cradle position and sitting tall here. Maybe gentle sway side to side. Allowing any tension to melt away in the shoulders as you breathe. Lovely. Taking left peace fingers to the left big toe, wrapping around and kicking through. And opening and closing, heel taps to the ground, lengthening the spine here. Just feeling into that hamstring muscle. And it's fine to have a small bend of the knee if that needs to happen. Here. From here, we're just going to start to find the swing, the opening and the closing. As we ding dong the leg. Breathe in here. Lovely. And finding yourself back, sole of the foot to the inside thigh, preparing for your half lotus. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Last one, preparing for a forward fold. And heart leads forward as you relax over the legs. Finding the edge of your stretch, whatever that is to you. And then just breathing there. Taking a few indulgent breaths here. And noticing the cause of effect of your breath in correlation to your stretching. Can you surrender or find a little bit more space and depth in your out breath? Lovely. Slowly drawing yourself back up to your seated position here. Stacking the knee up and allowing it to fall to the side. Stacking it up. Squeezing in the abdominals here as well and fall to the side. Inhale. And allow it to fall. Gorgeous. Slowly here, we're going to stack up the leg, find our sit bones again as we breathe here. Reaching in opposition to the leg and then floating the hand behind us, taking a hook and opening our heart as we find our spinal twist here, drawing the belly button to the spine and taking a few breaths for yourself. Noticing the back space around you and bringing yourself back to your center and slowly release the hand. Taking a moment here to prepare for our bind. Inhale, two hands reach up. And exhale, separate the hands, swimming the hand around the front shin. And if we can, take the bind. And sometimes it's easier if we step our foot in before we go. So we find our bind here. And just feeling into this pose. How does it feel right now as you breathe into this space? Heaviness in the head, tension melting away. And breathing. And just notice if we are fully surrendering to where we are at. And just breathing here. Releasing in the bind or the forward fold as you bring yourself back onto your seated. Taking the sole of the foot and finding it opposite the pelvis, foot in line with the shin here as you rest on the ground. Notice your sit bones melting on the ground here. Reaching the hand of the extended leg and sliding it down the leg and just feeling the weight of your head here whilst paying attention to that top shoulder so we can really open and find the rotation in the spine here as you breathe. Reaching the hand up and over and just taking a few breaths here. Notice the head fall heavy. And slowly bringing yourself up to your seated position, stepping the foot out to the side, internal and external rotation on this leg, feeling into the possibilities of opening and closing in the hip joint, rolling over the feet. Lovely. And stacking yourself back in center, finding that spinal twist that we had before. And breathing here. And bringing yourself back to your center. Taking a cactus pose and just looking to the ceiling as you open across the chest. Neutralize the spine here, because chances are we might naturally want to project in the rib cage. Right hand under left. And breathing in your eagle pose. Lengthening tall and just taking gentle twists. And back to center, release the hands. Interlace the fingers and rounding out the spine. And then sitting back to your neutral spine here. Release, find your cactus. Taking opposite hand to the hand that you've just taken underneath. So taking your left hand underneath and finding your eagle pose, breathing here. Taking small, gentle twists. And back to center, release the hands, reaching as you open. And just reaching the hands back as far as they go. And placing the hands on the thighs. Beautiful. So, that could be your